Hey guys, how's it going? Matt here, and welcome to what we like to call the Maverick meter trading indicator. Basically, this indicator, it's pretty different than probably anything you've seen before. It's definitely different than different indicators that I've seen before. And when we set out to create this indicator, our goal was to create something to where you can have kind of like a all-in-one dashboard of all your different favorite indicators all wrapped into one. So, you can kind of think about it like a dashboard in a sense. It has different data points that all kind of complement each other and give you an overall picture of what's going on in the market. Without further ado, I'll just jump right in. And I think the best way to kind of show you this is actually to jump into the settings here real quick. So you can see here we have actually four. There's really four main categories of indicators, not just for this indicator, but in general. We have trend indicators, we have momentum indicators, volatility, and then volume indicators. And so these four different indicators tell us different things about the market. For instance, we'll start with momentum indicators. So we have RSI and stochastic. Now, the thing is, both those indicators are great, and we can use those for different trading strategies. Many traders use those to spot good trades very successfully. But the thing is, you wouldn't really want to use those together. So you wouldn't really want to use an RSI and a stochastic together necessarily, because they're kind of telling you the same information, just in a slightly different way. And so what you'd want to do is you want to use maybe a momentum indicator with a trend indicator, or a momentum indicator with a volume indicator, or something like that. So you can actually have complementary indicators telling you, a different side of the story, if that makes sense. So again, we have these four different indicators, and we actually have three options for each category. So for trend, we have moving averages, which could be a simple moving average or an exponential. We have your MACD and your ADX, or average directional index. And then for momentum, we have RSI, stochastic, and CCI. For volatility, we have standard deviation, average true range, and Bollinger Bands, percent B. And then for volume, we have it's basically using these formulas. So a volume moving average, or a volume MACD, or volume oscillator. It's using the formula for MACD, but using volume as a source instead, if that makes sense. But basically, let me jump back into here. So what this is doing, and I'm glad I actually have this exact asset, Bitcoin, up on my chart, because I'm going to run through an example at the end of this that's going to hopefully make sense in terms of how you can actually use this indicator, because that's the most important part. I mean, you can customize this as much as you want. So, if you like to look at, let's say your favorite trading setup is looking at a MACD and an RSI together, you can do that. And just here it is right here. So it goes down the line here in terms of the order. So, again, starting with trend indicators, then you have momentum, volatility, and volume. And generally, for all of these different ones, green, I'm going to run into the color codes here, or I'm talking about the color codes here. So green means uptrend, red means downtrend. Here, it's a little different. Red means overbought, and green means oversold. And then in the middle, it just means if it's above. So for instance, RSI, if it's above 50, it turns orange. So you can kind of see it's like warming up here, and then it gets real hot, kind of warming up again. Now it's cooling off a little bit. That's kind of, I guess, one way to think about it in terms of the color. Now for this, it's different. Instead of using just like a normal, because for instance, RSI, you have it from 0 to 100. But what are we looking at here? So for this, we're using standard deviation. So standard deviation is different because it depends on the asset that you're looking at. So there isn't a set number from 0 to 100. It could be a standard deviation of 20, it could be 30, it could be whatever. But so what we had to do is we had to program a different formula to basically compare it to a moving average, so that you can see if the volatility is higher or lower than it normally is. Hopefully that makes sense. But yellow, it's really simple with the color code. So yellow just means higher volatility than normal, whereas purple means lower volatility than normal. And same thing for volume as well. So, purple, and it doesn't tell you, we're working on an update to possibly add this feature later on, but purple just means low volume. So, and then yellow means high volume. So it could be buying volume, it could be selling volume. To find that out, just add the volume indicator to your chart and you'll be able to see. But it just tells you if volume is picking up or not. And so, that's pretty simple, right? There's not really too much to that. You can change around the stylings here if you want. So you can play around with this and set custom colors if you wish. And then you can also, like I mentioned earlier, completely customize all of the numbers here. All of the defaults that we have in here, work pretty well. It's what the default is on the normal indicator. So for instance, the normal stochastic K line is 14, where the normal stochastic D is 3. So we've left all of that the same as you would normally do. But of course, like I said, you can customize this very easily. So in any case, the next thing that I want to mention here is that, I want to go ahead and actually talk about trading with this. So this, like, as you can see, it doesn't give you buy or sell signals, but it gives you, again, an overall sort of outlook of what's going on in the market. So the other day, I was actually looking at this specific indicator, the Maverick meter, on Bitcoin, and we can see here Bitcoin is now down today. Yesterday, when I was looking at Bitcoin, I believe it was, yesterday, these two red candles here that you see didn't exist. So all we had yesterday was, Bitcoin was making higher highs, and it looked like an overall very bullish trend. And now we can see it's starting to reverse and go in the opposite direction. And I actually knew that before it even happened. I knew that it probably was going to do that because of this indicator specifically. That's how powerful it can be if you know how to use it. So I knew that because I could see here it's been in an uptrend for a while, and I could look back and see how long is a typical uptrend, because markets do have cycles and patterns tend to repeat. So, but I didn't really look at that too much. What I looked at instead is I could see that the RSI had been overbought for a while, and I could also see that volatility was picking up and that volume was picking up. So with those two or three things in mind, I knew that probably something was going to have to give here. Either price was going to go ahead and trend higher, but I knew that because the RSI has been overbought, that it's probably more likely that it's going to actually reverse in the opposite direction. And so for those people that, were seeing Bitcoin yesterday and they were thinking, oh, it's at 8,200, whatever, and they're thinking, oh, I'm going to enter in a long position, I'm going to go long. Well, if they had just taken 2 seconds to look at the meter, the Maverick meter, they would have seen that, hey, actually, it's probably not the best time to do that because of what we're seeing here with these three indicators. So, definitely something to look at, to keep in mind. And if you can get really specific with it, you definitely can. It's possible, and you could even set this up if you wish as like a buy or sell signal. I haven't done that yet, me personally, but you definitely can. If you already have an existing trading setup that you have in mind, this could actually give you signals if you wanted to configure it that way. So anyway, guys, hopefully this video is helpful to kind of give you an overview of what this indicator is, what it does, and how you can best use it to fit your trading strategy. So as always, back test your trading strategies and try them out on demo accounts first. And happy trading, guys, and good luck.